Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Forgotten Realms Laeral Silverhand's Explorers Kit. This was the latest dice and miscellany set released by Wizards of the Coast. I do want to state for the record that Wizards of the Coast has sent this to me for the purposes of doing this review. However, they are not influencing what is going into the review. They're not recommending what I say or the final verdict that I give. And they're not pre-screening the video before it goes out. As always, my opinions are my own. But this was something that I was really looking forward to. And I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be getting this from Wizards or not. We had discussed it. But when I got the package with just the Wildemont campaign setting book, I figured that that was all that they were sending out, so I kind of left it at that. I actually had one of my local game stores lined up to set a copy of this aside for me when they received their order, but the morning that they were going to be getting their order, this actually came in for me. So interestingly enough, this also came in the day after I recorded a pickup video, but regardless, it's going to be really fun to sort of dive into this set and see what we have here. So we'll just go ahead and pick it up. The retail prices are $24.95 US and $33.95 Canadian. So it's around the same price, I believe, as what we had for the Descent to Avernus dice, if I recall correctly, or very, very similar to it. It looks like there's an 11 set die set here, and on the back it says, Explore the Realms. Let Laeral, I hope I'm saying that right, let Laeral Silverhand, open lord of Waterdeep, centuries-old archmage, and daughter of the god of magic, guide you on the path to adventure. It includes 11 dice, 2d20s, 1d12, 2d10s, 1's percentile, a d8, 46s, and 1d4. 20 illustrated double-sided cards detailing Laeral's expert insights on key characters, locations, and lore from across the Forgotten Realms. Durable felt-lined box that functions as 2 dice trays. I'll have to see how that compares to the other set. I want to do D&D, like official D&D evolution of the dice sets video. So it'll be interesting to sort of compare to compare the last set to this one, because I can't remember if the whole thing was felt lined or if it was just the bottom part. Anyway, it also says it holds a fold-out double-sided map of the Sword Coast and the city of Waterdeep, which unfolds to be 11 by 16 inches. So, without further ado, I've had this all day. Given what's going on right now, I'm having to do these videos later at night. So this is something that I've been sort of staring at all day, and I cannot wait to finally get the plastic off and have a look and see what's inside. There have been some other unboxing videos and review videos that I've seen come up in my feed for my subscriptions, and I always avoid watching those until I finally get to do my own, because I think it's important as a reviewer to be giving your opinion and not have it be influenced by other people. So, for example, there are some people that might take exception to something that I normally wouldn't, but when it's pointed out, you kind of go, yeah, that doesn't seem right. So I always try to wait until I finally get my video out, and then I'll go back and watch their stuff. So we got the plastic off. Let's just go ahead and get this open. It does come with sort of this harder plastic case, which is nice. I'm hoping, if we can get this out. My only concern with this is how many times it will withstand being opened and closed. I haven't heard any issues with it. I haven't heard anyone say that theirs has fallen apart or anything. And it depends on how often you're actually going to use it. Like if you keep the package like I do, like I display them in these. So when I go to use them, I do have to take them out of the box. But I mean, that's, like I said, overall it's a very minor thing. But here we have the dice themselves. And we'll go through, sort of look at them all here. They got the 2 pretty large D20s. So this is like a size, definitely a size up from like the normal dice set. And I wasn't sure how it would feel about these giant dice, or I guess they're not giant dice, but these larger size dice. I do love the fact that the D&D ampersand logo, we can get it to focus, is on the 20. So it's just kind of nice to see that it's something that I think all the other sets were kind of missing, was some sort of branding on the 20. So it's really cool to see that there. They don't feel super heavy. They don't feel cheap, but they don't feel weighty, which is good. And 14, that's not a bad roll. Now I'm rolling this on a mat here, which is probably how I would want to do it. I'm just going to roll it on like the hard surface of the table here, just sort of see what that sounds like. That's loud, but let's compare it to one of the regular sized dice. It is a bit louder, but I think a lot of people are going to have something on their dice, and I generally don't even roll flat on the table anyway. I usually roll on my clipboard with my paper on it, so yeah, it's kind of neat. The one thing I will say is I think personally I would have liked to have seen one of the D20 be the same size of the same set. Like if you're going to do the oversized dice, I think it would have been nice to have had one that's the regular side. That's probably the more OCD side of me saying that. I think there's a lot of people that it's not going to bother them, I don't think, that much at all. But at the same time, it is pretty cool, and they are nice. Like, I love the swirl pattern in them as well. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but you sort of have like the darker and the metallic swirls going through it. It's a very, very nice looking dice set. Of all the ones that I have so far from the 5th edition era, which is the Tomb of Annihilation, Ravnica, and the Descent to Avernus ones, the design on these dice, the large, very visible, readable numbers, but the pattern on the dice, the swirl on it, is probably my favorite look of the dice so far. So again, we just have all of our dice here, and it does read 0. Sometimes a D10. I've seen ones nowadays that will actually have the 10 printed right on it, but it's kind of nice to see just the 0 for percentile stuff. D4 and the D8. So the dice themselves look very nice. I will absolutely say that. I like them. The large dice, I think, are something that I could enjoy using, especially when I roll stuff in front of my players. Like, I typically roll behind my screen, but if there's sort of moments where it feels like, the dramatic tension dictates that I roll it in front of everyone to see, I think this would be a lot easier for everyone to see at the table, so I do like it from that perspective. So here we have, this is just the back part that you see when it's in the packaging on the store shelf, and just a little note there from Laeral Silverhand. It just says, "Today's Faerun, our vast and varied world, is but the largest verse of a song sung through generations. Its courses resound through the vaults of time. Each variation on people, wishes, mysteries, and myths we'll never know. Yet that define everything we are. Those who listen long enough might hear the refrains of lost civilizations and forgotten magic, of wars between giants and dragons, of the wizards of Netheril, and of the high magic of the elves. They are echoes of verses long sung, but indelibly parts of our ongoing song. To understand Faerun, train yourself to listen to the present and the past. Only fools deafen themselves to the song around them, the serenade of new wonders, the clangor of war, and worse. Although I don't have the perspective to sing Faerun's entire song, I'm happy to share a few of my favorite verses. Hopefully, they'll help distinguish a greater melody, so when it comes time to sing, you'll better understand the harmony that's waited so long for your own voice." Now, that's a really nice note. I don't sing because I sound absolutely atrocious, but it is a really nice thought. And then we have the box itself, which feels like very, very sturdy cardstock. And we got the felt lining on the inside there. And the inside lid, just a black felt. Looks very nice. I do like that. And then we've got our cards. I'll save the map for last. So the first one that we have here is Laeral Silverhand herself. And on the other side, I'm not going to read through all of these, but what you have is the individual or organization on one side, a depiction of them, and then you have some more information, it looks like, on the other side. So here we have some of the factions. So we have the Harpers. My favorite faction overall to use as a Dungeon Master, the Zentarum. Cults of the Dead 3. So that's actually pretty cool. So this must be Bane, Baal, and is it Mercule? Yeah. So that's actually pretty cool to have some information on them. They are some of my favorite deities to use as well. With the Zentarum thing, that sort of like goes with Bane. At least I think that's how it's still set up. But really, really cool. And then we have Durnan, who is the proprietor of the Yawning Portal in Waterdeep. Grand Duke Uldar Ravengard. So this is the head of the Flaming Fist mercenary group, and he was actually one of the 3 sort of possible antagonists way back with the Murder in Baldur's Gate story from back during the D&D 5th edition playtest. So it's kind of cool to have some information on him. Good old Hallister Blackcloak, looking certainly well adjusted. And then the information on him. Here we go. Jarlaxle Benair. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. Jarlaxle's been one of my favorite characters for a very, very long time. He's from a lot of the Dritz novels, but he's just such a great character. Absolutely love him. So it's great to see that he's included here. Then we have Lord Dagult Neverember. So this is the former Open Lord of Waterdeep, and currently he is the ruler of Neverwinter, and oversaw sort of its reconstruction after Mount Hateno exploded, or Hateno, however you pronounce that one. So it's, again, just cool to see. And then Dritz Duerden, again, one of my favorite characters. I love the Dritz novels, and just really, really cool to see him here. Varia Safar? I'm not familiar with her at all. Oh, okay, I think Archmage of Waterdeep, Blackstaff. Okay. I can't remember if she was mentioned in the Dungeon the Mad Mage storyline or not. And then we have Mert the Moneylender, classic Lord of Waterdeep. Just big old pudgy gut. Absolutely love Mert. Xanathar. And Beholders are the greatest in my opinion. So it is recycled artwork, but I don't care. I love it. And there's his pet goldfish. I can't remember the goldfish's name though. That always escapes me. Silgar. And then we have Baldur's Gate itself. So I think someone had mentioned, because I think this artwork was in the Descent into Avernus campaign book. I think someone had said that this was taken from the Baldur's Gate 3 cinematics. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it is very, very nice looking, I have to say. And the first word I saw on the back happens to be Minsk with his companion Boo. So that scores points for me. Candlekeep, another location that I absolutely love in the Realms. Then we have Neverwinter. And it's great to actually have this. So that when the players go to like the cities, they can actually see some representations of it without having to find like a page in a specific book, especially if you're like me. And even though I can't really do it right now, when I do run my games, they are, in public, so I try to reduce the amount of stuff that I take with me. So this is something I think would be really, really handy. Port Nyanzaru in Chult from the Tomb of Annihilation. And then we got good old Waterdeep. And then finally, Icewind Dale, another location that I really enjoy. So those are the cards. Just some great stuff there. I'm just going to put that back, so I'm going to put everything back here in a moment. And here we have our map. So we got the Sword Coast, which is where, for better or for worse, this is where all the current adventures for D&D 5th edition take place. And this is very similar to the map that was in the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, but it gives your important locations here. Waterdeep, Baldur's Gate, we have Baldur's Gate there, Candlekeep, whoops, Candlekeep is there, and then up north do we have, there's Neverwinter, Longsaddle. It doesn't look like it has things like Fandalen in there, which is okay. I mean, you can certainly figure out where it is based off of if you're running the adventures, but that's really, really cool. And then on the back, I don't know why I put this folded back up, but on the back we just have the map of Waterdeep with the different wards there and sort of the surrounding environments. So overall, really, really nice package, I have to say. This certainly lives up to the quality that Wizards of the Coast had first really established with the Descent into Avernus dice set, but I much prefer this one. Oh, I show the top of the box, and then the back of the box has the ampersand there. Greatest heroes, foulest villains, lost civilizations, ancient mysteries. And then a little note says, the path to Faerun's wonders is endless and fraught with danger, but one you'll never walk alone, written by Miss Silverhand herself. And then we have wondrous creatures, boundless magic. So really, really nice stuff. And yeah, so as I was saying, I think this is an absolutely excellent dice set. This is another one of those sets that really goes all out and fully justifies, I think, the price tag. This is something that I was absolutely, willing and happy to purchase myself with my own funds. Even as limited as they are, this was one of those accessories that I felt like I needed to get my hands on. And that's something that I really can't say of too many of the 5th edition dice sets that have come out so far. So this is, again, an example of Wizards of the Coast finally listening and paying attention to their consumer feedback, or like the feedback from reviews that essentially said that the previous dice sets were okay, but there was a lot of improvement that needed to be made, especially for the prices. Because the prices for these sets aren't drastically different from what the earlier ones, like the Waterdeep Dragon Heist dice set, were sold for, or even the Ravnica dice, I think, were around the same price. So I feel like they've finally really nailed down what they needed to do to justify that price tag, and I'm really happy with seeing this. And it does go to show that they are capable of learning from feedback. They did the same thing last year with their box sets that they released later on in the year. So overall, I'm really happy to see them continue on this sort of trajectory, and to continue to improve upon their products and give you something that's well worth the money. And that's what this is. This is something that is absolutely 100% worth the money that you're spending on it. The NPC information, I think, is fantastic as well. It's great to have. The visual aids are great as well. I think I would be using the city ones more, and it would have been nice to have seen some more locations, but at the same time, that's something that can easily be done with another set of dice down the road. So it's one of those things that, I don't think they want to put absolutely everything into a single set if next year or the year after they decide to release another one. And if they keep releasing them like this, then I will continue to buy every single one that comes out, because it's just such a nice overall package. The presentation is fantastic, like with the packaging over top. It's not just a simple paper sleeve. Like, they actually really went all out. So I would say, if you are someone who loves collecting dice, first of all, I think this is a great set. The oversized D20s, I'm still going to have to warm up to, but I can see me using them under certain circumstances. And I think they'd be a lot of fun to use. I don't know if the D20s would necessarily be my go-to for everything, but that, again, remains to be seen once the sort of current situation passes and we're able to sort of get back into more of a semblance of normal life. Then who knows? This very well could become my go-to set of dice. But I love the designs. I love the patterns on the dice. I love the large numbers. The contrast between the die itself and the numbering, I think, is fantastic. If just off the top of my head, I feel like with the Descent to Avernus dice, which again were also really nice looking, but I felt like maybe they sort of blended into each other, the numbers and the color of the die themselves. So this is a much better contrast, and I think just a beautiful dice set overall. So I do highly recommend this, and just for the aids that come along with it, the things that, you know, are packed in extra that they didn't need to include, but they did, and those inclusions absolutely, in my opinion, 100% justify the price. And just like the other set, I am totally pleased with this, and I give it high recommendation. So check it out if you are a dice fan, or if you're someone who was not a big fan of the earlier sets because of the cost. This is something where you're getting a ton of value for your dollar. So go ahead and hopefully be able to get your hands on them either at your local game store if they're you know, open in limited capacity, or if they can send stuff out. But this is something that I do highly recommend, and again is a great indicator for, you know, hopefully the path that Wizards will continue to take going forward, where they learn from feedback and grow their products as a result. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you have this dice set yourself, let me know in the comments below. Have you been using it in your games? What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on the oversized D20? Would you prefer regular sized and oversized, or the two regular sized, or are you happy with the two oversized D20s that we have here? So I'd like to sort of hear your guys' feedback on that. Thanks again to Wizards of the Coast for sending this for review. It's an excellent product, and I couldn't be happier with it. So once again, thank you everyone, and I'll see you next time. Take care.